Okay, hello everyone and welcome once again to today's episode of Multimedia and Web Design. Yeah, today's going to be a tough day. Why am I saying that? Because we're going to talk about a little bit of backend, right? Okay, so this was a mini project given to us somewhere last weekend. It's about backend. We're deploying or we're developing a backend system for a school. So here's the question right here, and I'm gonna read it to you. So the question goes like: Cyber Information Solutions is a software development company in Ghana, and then you have been employed as a backend web developer. Sounds sweet, right? Yeah, let's wait for the saddest part. Your first task is to implement a back-end service for a school management system using NodeJS with two main functionalities. Now, the first function is to get students' details by student's ID, right? And the second function is to register new students by supplying students' details. Now, our task was to first of all create a NodeJS project using, so like we're gonna use NodeJS, right, as our technology here. So like we create a NodeJS project using Git. I think I did right. I did that. We're gonna look into that some more time, okay? And we use the Express framework. We did that too. We use we're gonna use the Express framework to handle our user requests and user responses. We're gonna see that right in our code here. So here I used Visual Studio codes right here, as you can see here. So let's write down the question. Something like that. We deploy the backend application to some distant, I think, Vessel, Netlify, or Firebase or something. Add a README file, and then that is it. So let's have a look at the final work. Here's my final work. So this is the dashboard. Child is college, and we have some little navigation bar here with register new student about, and then students. I think these are the main functionalities. One right here, and then the second one right here. So like let's have a good look into it. So on each student click, we have this dashboard which opens about the student. Every details of the student, right? So the student ID, the program of study, the sex, the date of birth, when the student was admitted, when his or her details was inputted into the database system of the college. So and then when you go to the register new student, we have these little forms right here which takes student name, program, database. So like basically what we saw in the student detail, each and every student detail, we pass that right here, and then we got a lot of details too, which we generate automatically by the database. We used MongoDB in this database too. So shall we look about something right here? So let's say student name, mostly it's never come. Let's go by the Nakwejo, right? Okay, so let's say BSc Mathematics right here, and then the date of birth. Let's take this as such, right? And then here it's a mail. So let's submit it. And upon submission, look what happened. The Nakwejo's details came right here, and then on click of the Nakwejo, we have the ID, auto-generated ID for us, and then the admitted at was also generated for us. We can look at the time right here. It's 1 year, but then at 4:00 a.m. right? Of course, Monday, and the last modified too. So these are the auto generated information with regards to the particular student, and then this unique ID, like it's a unique ID as the name suggests, very unique, and then only one student can have this ID, this particular ID, right? So you can't have two students possessing one or similar IDs or same ID. Sorry, we have the sex right here, which was passed in the forms. And then the date of birth was also passed in the forms. Program of study was passed in the forms, and then the name displaying right here was also passed in the forms. So a little about page of the this makes it nice. That's nothing wasn't part of the functionalities, right? And then when you come here, we get all the student details right here. One click of every student, we got the details of the students here, so we can see the overview of this particular mini projects, right? So shall we go to the back end of the project? What's actually going on? The main focus of this video of the this assignments. Okay, so I want us to demonstrate something before we get to the we get right into the video, or right into the code. We look at what the code is talking about. What functionalities are going in there in the code to provide us with this beautiful interface and then beautiful functionalities right here. Okay, so when we click on this thing, I want us to look at something right here. You see this unique ID? Can we compare it to this ID right in our browser? We see some kind of similarities between them, right? And then obviously they are same, right? So this the same ID coming right here, and then we get this ID, this particular ID, we get it in our database. Okay, so I'm hosting my database right here. I'm using MongoDB, and then I have my collection right here, okay, with some documents. The documents are the amount of data in my amount of data in my system, right? So like there are 16 of them. Eventually we can add more, and then we can see all of them right here. So this my database operating right here. That's the MongoDB, and I'm using the MongoDB Atlas as my source of database right here. Okay, so I think you should go into the code and see what's actually going on. Visual Studio, go where you? Okay, so let's start by looking at the models. What's actually in the models? Okay, so when you come to the models, we have student.js, and then what this student.js is doing is, first of all, we have the Mongols. The Mongols is a package. It's a package right here. When you come to the package.json file right here, we can see all our dependencies, which are also like our packages right here. We have the Mongols right there, the Express, the EJS. I use the EJS to inject all these HTML templates. Not really HTML, the extension is .ejs, but basically we use HTML syntax, HTML elements to do everything. So like this interface you are seeing right here, all the interface, the HTML syntax, everything, basically everything. When you right click this and see the inspect, we can see some HTML right here. They are as a result of the EJS package or dependency. That is why we were able to generate all these beautiful interfaces right here. Okay, so we have the Express framework also, the Express interface, the Mongols, and then the Morgan. So these were my dependencies I used in this project. So let's go back to the models. Now student.js, we required the Mongols right here to be able to create objects of a particular the particular collection that we want, right? So right beneath the constants, or the variable we used in declaring or requiring our Mongols into the project, comes the schema. And then what the schema does is the schema defines the structure of a document. When we were talking, or when we were looking at documents in the database, I talked something about these singular objects being the document. So like when you take this particular objects right here, it is a document. It's one or a single document, right? We have another document right here. So this document has some properties of ID, which is also generated by the database for us. We have the name of which we passed in the forms, the program of study, the date of birth, the body, the created at, all these properties, or all these unique properties of a particular document. So like documents is just one instance of an object which makes the document, right? So we have a whole lot of documents right here. There are 16 of them. So we go on. The first one of Jamie Soria's documents, which makes a single document. We have the requirements document, which makes a single document, and then all these documents comes together to form a collection right here. So this is the collection. All these are the collection. That is what we are looking right at. Okay, so back to our code. So this schema helps us to create the structure of the document. When you talk about the structure, what do we want? When we take the students document like this, the students has a property of name, program. In this project like this, I provided the student with a name, a program, date of birth, the sex, and yes, some other things. But this is the basic properties that I could supply to my to my student's body or my student objects, right? So the constant student is the variable name defining a new instance of the schema, right? So we are creating this schema with the properties of name, giving it a type of string, and then requiring through. This means it should be provided. Let's say when you are filling the forms, it's needed. It's needed to be passed on to the database, right? So the program is also a type of string. The date of birth, that is type of string. Can do is type of date. And then right here, I'm gonna talk about this later. Okay, the body was, it's just as the sex. For simplicity's sake, that is why I did it as the body, to be so that we can capture it at the latter parts of the project, to be able to log it to the page and then display this thing right here. This is the main purpose why I did this particular property as body. Okay, so when we get there, we're gonna see what is actually going on in so this is our models, node models. Whenever you import packages, we automatically get these node models, right? So in this my project, I have a whole lot of packages I showed earlier. So whenever you start importing any package into your project, automatically you get this package.log.json and then this models folder, right? So we got nothing to do with this node models folder. Now this public folder simply takes in my styles.css, and then this public folder is a folder that is opened to the outside world. Right here we can see some CSS taking place, some CSS firing here. Okay, this is a result of this public folder. If had it not been this public folder, and then this is working in hand with the EJS package, okay, had it not been this folder, we wouldn't have had any kind of CSS right here. So it would look very damp. it looks damp already, but I think this is quite okay. So yeah, that is the essence of this public folder with the file styles.css. I have a whole lot of styles, not really bunch, but it's okay. It makes us keep our interface very cool to use. Okay, and then the routes too. The routes contains students so like we had a file, or we have a file called students routes.js, and then up here we've required the express package here, and then a student instance also right here. So like this student what do we call it, this student's object is referring to, or we are requiring the students that we created in the model. The schema that we created in the model, we are requiring it right here in the routes. Okay, we are requiring, so like this is how we create our students. We require our student object in this particular routes folder with the file students routes.js. Okay, so this means the dot means go back twice to the file directory. You have something, or you have a folder called models, jump right into this folder. You have a file called students. So like when we are using this require, we do not need to provide the path with the extension of the file automatically, or it knows it knows what to do. The particular file that you are referring to. Okay, and then this views also renders as ways. This was what I was talking about. Okay, so that the .egs file, they are all, when you go deep into it, you would see they are all HTML syntax or HTML elements right in the .egs, but like we are able to render all these to the page with the help of the EJS packages, right? So we have our index ages here, yeah, with some dummy tests. I mean, some simple stuffs right here, okay. And then about.g, that is right here, okay. So that lorem explom, and then some kind of few sensible information about the .g up here, and then dummy test lorem explom. Okay, that's right here. And then this partials, okay, so the partial simply refers to let me say, you could notice that when it comes to this register.ages right here, we would have a footer, or let's go to the input to the interface to demonstrate this. You could see that the interface has the nav bar right here. When it comes to the bottom, it has the footer too, right, also here, okay. When you go to the about page, we also have same nav bar here. We have the footer right here. When you go to the register register students page, which contains the form, we have the same nav bar here, and then we have the footer also right here. So isn't it wise to create something once, when we want to make some changes to the nav bar or something, and then we dumped everything right into each of the files, right? You could see it would be very tedious work, okay. So that is the essence of these partials. We create these contents, or these let me say blocks of the HTML page into a particular files. So like the footer contains its content, the header contains its content, and the nav also contains its content. So that is what we've done right here, and then we use these symbols to require them, or to include them in our file, right? So that is as simple as that. We have our form right here, and then our for page right here, our details page right here. Yeah, so there is the details. Of course, it's not an HTML or CSS page, so we ain't gonna look into this, very tedious. And then our register page right here. Now let's come to the index.js. So this is actually our back end right here, okay. So here we require the express packages, we require the Morgan package, we require the Mongoose package as well, and then we required the students routers package. Not package, we created these students routers right here, okay. We require them here as well, and then we created this express app. Now this is how we create the express app. We bring our constant or our variable declaration to go. You can call it any way you want, but you make sure wherever you are expressing this app, you could see that, right, it goes with the name, your particular name that you give it right here, okay. So yeah, this is how we create our express file. We've created it, and then here comes the connection to the MongoDB, that is the database. So we create our database URI. This was generated right here from the database, okay. So I think let me see whether I'm gonna able to. Is a database or something? Okay, so we got that right here when we created the database, right? Yeah, when we created the database, so we got a connection right from here. I think I'm kind of confused a little bit, but yeah, that's normal. Let's get back to our code. Yeah, so the URI, you're gonna get that from the connection of the database. They are going to generate this for you. So right here, you're going to specify the name of the collection that you are dealing with. We could see this childish college right in the database, okay. And then these are your username that you're going to pass in when you are creating the database, and then the password as well. Not really necessary to see the password. Okay, so yeah, our Mongoose, also we connect our Mongoose. We connect the Mongoose to the database, because we are dealing with the database. We are actually creating the documents with regards to the database. We're creating the documents and they are stored in the database, right? So we actually supposed to connect this database to our project through the Mongo's package. So that is what we've done right here. And then this is an asynchronous task, so we would require the then extension or the then method, and then we pass in some results. And then right here we could have done the app.listen somewhere down here, but since this connection right here takes time, that is why it's asynchronous, right? So since it takes time, isn't it wise to put this app.listening, we're listening to our ports right here, isn't it wise to paste it right under beneath the connection of the device, so that when we are done connecting when we are done connecting our projects to our database, that is when we are going to actually listen to the ports we're talking about. So this is it. So let's say we wanted to access the students, okay, and then we were actually listening to the listening to the port right beneath here or right up here before we could connect to the database. Do you think we would be able to access all these information from the database? No, it's not possible. So it's actually sensible to place this app.listening or the listening to the port right beneath the connection or under the connection of the database to the projects. And then we catch some error here, so when there is an error we log it to the console right here. So that is what we've done here too. Yeah, and then this is my injection of the EJS file to it. So like the EJS file is a view engine as well. So this is how we specify it in our project. We use the set property or the set method to specify the EJS file into our project. Now middlewares and then static files. Okay, so like middlewares are kind of functions that fires between the requests of an HTTP and then the response of an HTTP. So like when there is a request of an HTTP to our server right here, every function that fires or every function that works in between this before a response is sent to the user is called a middleware, right? So we create middlewares with the use of with the help of the use methods. Okay, so this middleware right here or static files right here helps us to render anything in the public folder to the user or to the outside world. That is why we place this styles.css in the public folder. So when any request is made right here, when any request is made or when any get method is made, clicking on this student is a get method, right? We can see right here. We can see right here. We can see right log to the console. It's a get method. Any on click is a get method, right? Except some few ones. Submitting of these forms, that is a post method. Even that one, we have a get method before that post method because we are sending something and then we actually need to receive something at the end of it. Yeah, we can demonstrate this by creating some dummy something right here, and then me. So like when we submit this, well, you can see right here a post and a get method. Okay, so we posted something right to the database. We saved something right to the database, and then we had something back. What did we have back? We had the root of the file. We had the root of the project right here. That is the /student. Okay, yeah. So that is what we had. This is what we created just now. Okay. So there we go. We actually go in. Yeah. So another middleware is the Express URL encoded, and then we have this Morgan right here. This is a development package. This is what actually help us determine all these things logging to the console right here. Okay, so this is the use of the Morgan package, and then the .gets method that I was talking about. This is how we specify get method. Okay, so we do our app, the express that we created top here, the app.gets, and then within it we specify the path of the page that we want to render to the user. Okay, we specify it right here, and then the second argument is a callback function, and then within the callback function we pass in the request and the response methods, and then within the function we can do anything that we want. So right here we are redirecting the response to this /user or this /students, which is right here, okay, which is right beneath the students routes. So we are doing same thing here. All these are gets method, okay. So on this, on click on this, we actually have the /student method, because we are redirecting this particular get method right here to the /students gets method. Okay, yeah, and then we come back to this method. This is a about method. Actually that's nothing, it was just there to beautify the page. So we can see some rendering here. We're rendering to the response, dot response. We are using the response argument right here, and then we pass the method of rendering to it, and then within it we specify the file, the particular file we want to render to the user, or want to render to the browser, right? And then this right here is a work of the EJS. this helps us display values that we've created already to the file. So this title right here would actually be displayed within, was it index? It was about. Okay, so we can see that right here. We could, where is the title? Sorry, I think it's in the head. Okay, so this title, we specify the value, and then we specify with an equal to sign, title right here. So when we come to the about, we can see the title right here. Okay, this title that I'm talking about, okay, this was what we specify right here in this this is exactly what we specified here. So this is what we are getting right here. So every get method, or every get function that we place in the URL, we are going to get something similar of this. Okay, we had this students route also here, but here we used the use method because this students route was created up here, and then we have our 404 page rendering to the browser whenever users click something that is not with regards to. So yeah, you have this I think this 4 page is actually nice. So oops, page not found. So this was what we created for the 404 page. So yeah, let's get right in our students. So yeah, I think we've been through some things. So let's see what this actually means. The app.use, which specify the root of the students right here. So this was in the models, and then we can actually you see this student object right here was actually created here, const in this file student.js, but we were able to access it in the index.js. This student's routes. Where is it? Yeah, so this student's route, because of this particular method, the model method, and then the export method. So model exports to whatever we want to export. So we actually wanted to export this particular model to, like, we wanted to able to access it anywhere in this project. That is why we created this. We exported this with the model.export method in the project. So we created this students right here. Student is equal to the Mongos, because we are creating an object dot model, and then we did students, and then we did this student schema, this thing right here. Okay, so this was what we passed in, and then you see this thing right here, student.model. This goes right into the the database, and then gets us all the values that we passed into the database when the user was filling the forms. So this is the schema that we created. Okay, so the schema with regards to the properties of the name, the program, date of birth, and then so on. So this right here is an argument which passes whenever we make such a request, and then this gives us a response. It gives us it actually gives us a response which comes in a plural form. So like, let's say when we make this request, it gives us a student file, or sorry, a student folder that we can cycle through from the database to give us whatever we want to output to the user or on the browser. Okay, so that was it. And then yeah, I think that is simply everything. And then lastly, let's talk about the ID, getting a particular student by ID. So let's do something right here. Let's come to our project. Nope, I don't like it. Let's go somewhere here. Let's click on Christina for it, and let's copy this ID right here. Okay, so right now we are in the slash directory, or we are in the home directory. That is the students, all students right here. So we can actually find a particular student. Let's paste this ID, the ID that I copied right in, and then let's hit enter. And yeah, we had it right here, because the ID specified here, or the ID displayed right here, is the ID that we get in the browser. Sorry. Okay, so this was the method we created. We created a router object, and then this creates new instance of a router object right here. The constant is equal to express.router. We get this from the express package. Okay, so we create the dot gets, the post, some gets method, all the ID, they are all gets method, right? We got this right from the routes object. Okay, so we created this, and then this actually these students actually, we are take it as if we are referencing it to the database. So we've captured our database right here. This find method actually finds all, or displays all the objects or the documents that we have in the collection of the database, right? And then this is just a method that sorts our objects in the order of when they were created. So you could actually see we created this just now, and then here we had it in front. Okay, it's as a result of this this algorithm. That is why we are getting this. And then of course it's an asynchronous asynchronous method. That is why we are attaching this then, and then the catch method. So wait, now we have our post method. This is the method that fires whenever we create a new instance of an object. Whenever we create a new student, we add a new student. This is it. So we create a new instance right here. We get the values that we passed in the forms with the help of this request.body. Okay, so this was the essence of the body. That is why the text page of the HTML the HTML what do we call it, the HTML the EGS file, this was why we named the sex part or the last part as the body, so that we can actually get all these instances of that we passed in the forms right here. Okay, yeah, we redirect you to. That is why whenever we create a new student, or we register a new student, we actually get redirected to the page, or to the home page. So yeah, I think my network is messing up, but it would go eventually. So yeah, it's because of this redirects, this particular redirect. That is why whenever we create, or we're done creating a particular instance of their students, we get redirected to the all students page, or the home page right here. Okay, so I think we are facing some network problems right here. Yeah, so this is the get method for the ID2. Now we find this particular, or we fire this particular function with the help of the find by ID method. Find by ID method. So we define this ID, and then this params.id helps us get this particular ID. I don't know how we are going to get this because we are having some. Let me try connect to. Now we could see the we could actually demonstrate the IDs that we were getting in our databases into the page, right? It is as a result of this particular params.id method. That is why we were able to, we are attaching it to the request element, or sorry, request method, and then we are able to get that particular ID. We fire it through this function right here, the find ID by this particular ID that we declared right here, okay? And then we pass it, or we render it to the page or the details page to get it. Yeah, so that was about the, what do you call it? That was about the project, okay? So yeah, this is my GitHub account. Sorry, I don't think it's going to work, but then yeah, okay, it's working right here. Okay, so this is actually the project with some with me. Let's take it like that, okay? Yeah, okay, so yeah, that was it. That's about it.